It's the bull. You looking at me? You looking at me? Kind of reminds me, I don't know why, it reminds me of De Niro in that movie. Hey, good morning. What's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. It was like 59 out this morning. Some of you might consider that pretty warm, but here in Florida we get our winter jackets on when it's 59 degrees. The only people you see on the beaches are the Canadians. And to them that's wonderful weather. Actually, we haven't seen many Canadians. I think most of them are still locked down by their awful governance that they have up there. But take a look at this here. This is the live, I'd like to call it the snapper cam, man. That's making me hungry. Look at them. Well, who's looking at who here, actually? So, you looking at me? But pretty cool camera. Water clarity is pretty good, and those are the mangrove snappers, I believe. Pretty tasty little fish as well. And looks like the camera's moving there. Let's see where it's going. You can watch this for free on YouTube, obviously, and it's called Viva the Keys. It's a live underwater cam, pretty cool stuff. My local underwater cam here in Deerfield Beach close by is kind of a little cloudy today, so I figured I'd put this one on. Well, what is my saying or my theme for the year has been always question authority and think for yourself, which was a saying by, oh man, I forgot the guy's name. It's like getting old, I'm telling you. Timothy Leary, sorry about that. And here's another one. I'm going to do a daily one as well and put these up. This was one I found very interesting and very true. Those that can give up essential liberty to gain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. I've heard this saying or this quote for quite some time by Benjamin Franklin, and actually 100% true. And quite frankly, I have not fact-checked and made sure Benjamin Franklin did say this, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it associated with the quote with him. And even if it's not, it's absolutely true. If you're willing to give up liberty just to get a little temporary safety, you don't deserve neither of them. And that's kind of what we've got going on here the last couple years since the Critter 19 started. It's all about freedom, it's all about liberty, and if you have neither, then safety doesn't do you a damn bit of good. Let's take a look at the spot prices here today, and man, silver, man, rocketed it up. Take a look at that, $24. We'll take a look at the 24-hour chart here shortly and kind of see where that action took place in an unusual place too as well. Something we've been talking about for the last week. These market moves are happening in strange places, and almost like we've seen them get knocked down, and then we've seen them get the rubber band effect, I call it, where it just kind of snaps back and it maybe even goes higher. So some strange stuff happening in the background here. I can't identify what, who, how, or anything, but no less, it's looking very positive as far as prices go. We're also going to talk about a little bit about crypto, a little bit about a video on crypto that was done just recently, trying to compare crypto and gold. Of course, I'm going to make my comments on that. We're going to look at a couple charts as well, real yields, because it's kind of interesting. I shortened it up to a month, and consumer price index, and then the new updated Biden misery chart. So now this is a misery chart's been around for quite some time, but they just recently updated the figures for the Biden administration for the first quarter. And all right, we'll take a look. Anyways, interesting data though. This is probably all a good sign of where precious metals are going. We know where it's going anyway. And a fiat debt-driven bubble that we have, the greatest bubble of all time, in my opinion, created by the Fed. Purposely, maybe not purposely. But I used to think these people weren't too smart at the Fed, but I'm starting to think they are the smartest people out there, number one, because they have to be. And number two, the fact that they've been able to tell, all currencies are like a sinking ship. All fiat currencies are like a sinking ship. They're eventually going to go down. No fiat currency has survived longer than, I believe, the United States dollar right now, since Nixon took us off the gold standard in '72. So we are the experiment at the moment, and the trajectory is to hit the bottom. You're gonna sink, And what the Fed has been doing for years and years and years now, and really most importantly, since Nixon did take us off the gold standard entirely, the Fed has been more or less. They are the captains of the sinking ship. The captain of a Titanic, and the captain of these large sinking ships cannot tell the passengers that we're going down. They knew we were going down as soon as we became a fiat currency. Hopefully not in their lifetime, but they knew we were going down as soon as we get off the gold standard. The Fed knew what was happening. They've just been able to jawbone the passengers into thinking that everything's okay when it's not, because we'll look at the consumer, what it costs consumers to live here shortly as well, which is it's just proof that these guys are just jawboning the passengers on a sinking ship. Well, again, kind of going off there. Look at that, I'm having fun refreshing this. 1837.62, up $23 on gold. That's a pretty substantial move. I used the term rocket yesterday. I think someone on one of the Reddit guys told me, oh, this didn't rocket up. Well, it did rocket up. If you took a look at the charts, it rocketed up very quickly. Now, rockets go all different heights. This rocket didn't go to the moon like we'd all like to see it go, but it did rocket up yesterday, and so did silver today as well. I remember a while back ago when silver was super active, 50-cent moves were kind of the norm, and it looks like we're getting back into the norm. Maybe I haven't seen that hammering that we've seen here recently, monkey hammer. I don't want to get too many of you too drunk here, but we haven't seen the down prices there. But again, let's look at the ranges here on gold first. 1810.96, a high at 1837.62. Man. And again, we're at that high right now. So this is kind of looking good. Silver as well, a low at 23.41, where we kind of charged up yesterday from the low 23s to that 40, and again, close to 50-cent moves yesterday and today, to a high at 24.02, where we currently sit. We are sitting at the high at the moment. And platinum, wow, there's the real gain right there. Look at that, $41, up to $1,026. I'm suspecting maybe that we have seen our final low in platinum, that sub $900 level where it kind of just touched on that. And chart guy, if you're out there listening, your advice to buy and wait and see if platinum goes down below 900, I think you were right on that. Didn't hit the 850 mark, but certainly did hit that sub 900 mark. And take a look at 975. So good moves all across the board, including palladium, the red-headed stepchild of metals. Seems to be up even more, $118. You've got, big moves up today for sure. Let's take a look at the charts here. Give me 1 second. And let me just refresh that one more time. All right, kind of backed off a little bit, but still, we've hit that. We're at $24 for all intents and purposes. Does it stay at these levels? That's the next question. Can we maintain these levels here? Or will we see more hammering, monkey hammering? There's your second drink. Okay, let me see here. Yesterday, again, a Reddit comment said it didn't rocket up, but that's a rocket, man. That's what I call a rocket. Now, rockets can go, 5 feet and they go to the moon, but that's a rocket motion right there in gold for sure. And where does this happen? Interestingly enough, it looks like metal prices kind of just creeped up all night long during the Hong Kong, London, and Globex markets. And London's still open right now. And we're seeing a big increase here with New York open as well. So very interesting movements in gold right now. Ted Butler's whale that he identified, he says that there's a huge whale in gold right now that he doesn't think has sold his position, is sitting very pretty at the moment. Let's talk about silver and someone that's probably not sitting pretty. And I'm going to do a quick refresh here. And yeah, $24 level. Here's our line right here. Kind of drifted up that way all evening. Not the same kind of rocket that we've seen with gold here, rocket movement we've seen with gold here. But still, we're at that $24 mark. Pretty fat, pretty good stuff here going on. And there's that rocket movement yesterday I was talking about. That's a rocket movement right there. Boom, straight up. And it didn't come down either, which is kind of interesting. Give me 1 sec, sip of coffee here. And take a look at these movements. But as I said, who's not happy about this? If Mr. Butler's presumption is correct that Bank of America has an 800 million ounce short position of physical that they have to replace to JP at some point here, they are not looking too good. What is 800,000 times a dollar? And Ted presumes, and this presumes and makes a good guess, an educated guess that their all-in cost is probably $23 an ounce. So if that's true, Bank of America just lost how much? $800,000, correct? At a dollar, yeah, dollar move here, $800,000. Almost, well, hold on, that wouldn't be correct. 800 million. What I'm saying, they just lost 800,000. I'm getting my thousands confused with my millions. 800 million. They just $800 million loss, folks. Again, if they did not cover that position, or they don't have that position covered. And again, they do have to replace that. Very interesting things going on here, and some of them could be very hurtful for Bank of America if this all turns out or pans out as correct. Give me 1 second here, I'm wiping up some coffee I spilt. Let's take a look at the stock market, just kind of see what's going on. Yesterday and the day before was a pretty bad day for Wall Street. And I don't even think, we're not even looking at any kind of real bounce here. We're just kind of looking at sideways motion. This probably doesn't look good because, again, most all these big down days we've seen immediately afterwards, a few days, big up days as well. But not today. I haven't seen that rubber band or that rebound. We did in gold and silver, but we have not seen it with the stock market today. So kind of keeping an eye on this. And as I told you, I got my own little portfolio here going on. I'm going to talk about it once or twice a week and kind of show it to you. It is, there's my portfolio. Now remember, this is a faux portfolio that I'm holding. I think that I'm going to probably buy into some stocks here. And not necessarily these stocks, and not maybe yes, maybe no, but I've been adding some things on here. And how is my little portfolio doing? Auto and transportation stocks. I probably should put Tesla in here just as a comparison. Looked like that company, which Ford is involved with, is up a little bit. What I call Critter 19 stocks, not too good, and I'm probably assuming why is because one of the CEOs of this company, one of these companies, just came out and said, well, this whole deal, this whole Critter thing probably is pretty much over now. That's going to put a hurting on some of these stocks, I'm sure. I don't think I'd buy back into them, maybe if they got cheap enough. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the greatest bubble of all time to implode, explode, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to kind of jump into some stocks myself because diversification is a good thing. The only reason I haven't, because I'm a precious metal guy, my best investment has been my business. So that's where most of my money goes. But again, being diversified is a good idea. So when these stocks start getting hit pretty heavily, some of these I might buy, some of them I might not, and I'll probably add a lot more to these. I'll share the stuff with you because I'm learning as I go when it comes to stocks and bonds. But let it be heard from a precious metal guys that I think diversification is a really good thing. I don't think anyone should have all their, or even a majority of their money in gold and silver. I know it's worked for some people, and I know it works for myself, but I'm in the business of turning this stuff over and not just holding it. I do believe in diversification, and I think that once this big bubble bursts, I am going to jump into some good stocks that actually do something or sell something real or provide a real service that aren't just pumped up by company buybacks and all kinds of crap. All right. Said enough about stocks, and it's not my expertise. We're going to get into some interesting stuff here, so hang with me here. Let's take a look at crypto stocks here. Bitcoin has recovered a little bit. It touched its low of 40,000 a couple weeks ago. The volatility of this stuff is just so incredibly amazing. However, as I said, I think the days of, the allure to a lot of newer people with cryptos, and especially Bitcoin, is that they get rich. Oh man, people got rich off this stuff. Well, of course they did. They got rich because they were on the ground floor when it came in. If you were on the ground floor of any major stock or anything like that when it came together and you hit it at its high, you'd be a millionaire as well. Multi-millionaire probably, and that's what happened to all those millionaires that you heard about Bitcoin. It's not like they bought in Bitcoin at 50 and then went to 60 and they became millionaires. Only people that can do that are people that can throw millions at it. The average dude, the average person right now, I think Bitcoin is my opinion, Bitcoin and these other things are way too risky. And certainly I would not call any of these things wealth preservation. The track record's not there. I'll get into that in a moment here, but it looks like Bitcoin's having a little better day. And I'm not here to bash this stuff. I'm a capitalist. I'm a free market capitalist. I believe that as long as something doesn't harm others and you don't make others pay for it, you should be able to bet, gamble, create a business on whatever you want to do, all right? And Bitcoin is part of being a free capitalist. So I don't particularly want to be invested in it myself. I am looking at it. I think if it ever got cheap enough, or I thought I thought I could make some money, sure, why not? But to me, it's a very highly volatile market that's pretty new. And let's go into a video yesterday, and this is on ZH here. It talks about Bitcoin. Excuse me one second, another sip of coffee here. Okay, sorry about that. And they kind of, I'm not quite sure. This is posted by VBL. We're not going to watch the video, but you can watch it. I decided not to click it because it seems like there's a lot of moot points on here. This was put up again by VBL on Zero Hedge. You can read it for free yourself. Just go to the ZH site here, and basically, I'll read what it says. Move over Bitcoin. It's gold's time to shine. On Monday, a Twitter account called The Crypto Couple posted a short video about gold and Bitcoin to their audience. The video made some strong, humorous, and sarcastic assertions about gold and Bitcoin. For what it's worth, folks, I don't think there's any comparison, but let's go on here. For context, The Crypto Couple have been posting these videos for months now, and I guess that's them right there. And it kind of looks like they're having fun with it, too, as well. The video becomes a little different than a normal fare in many ways. The points made seem quite serious and echo reasons Bitcoiners are less happy with being compared to gold. The basic difference between Bitcoin and gold is seen by crypto investors are laid out in no uncertain, if sarcastic terms, all right? The classic voiceover commercial, they're talking about how the thing's made. And one of the things on here they point out was, let's see here. At one point of the video, one half of the team is wearing CGI clown masks and makes a statement that many non-believers frequently say Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. The phrase is almost mantra-like for non-believers of Bitcoin, and several public no-coiners have used the phrase no intrinsic value, including Peter Schiff here. And, you know, I'm not sure, I've always said no tangible value. I mean, it's not tangible, okay? Not tangible value, but it's not tangible. Intrinsic value may not be a correct word to use. Maybe Peter Schiff is wrong using the word intrinsic value, because let's type in what intrinsic value really means. Give me one second. Intrinsic value, I think I probably spelled it wrong. I was typing faster than my fingers are going beyond my brain. All right, there we go. I'll just kind of do that real quick. What is intrinsic value? Intrinsic value is a measure of what an asset is worth. This measure is arrived at by means of objective calculation or complex financial model rather than using the currently trading market price of the asset. In a financial analysis, this term is used in conjunction with the word identifying as nearly as possible the underlying value of a company and its cash flow in options, pricing it to... intrinsic value explained is an umbrella term with useful meanings in several areas. Most often the term applies to work of financial analysts who attempt to estimate an asset's intrinsic value, okay, and qualitative factors, business models. Key takeaways. In financial analysis, intrinsic value is the calculation of an asset's worth based on a financial model, okay? Analysts often use fundamental and technical. So it's quite clear to me that anyone that's saying that Bitcoin has no intrinsic value, I don't believe that would be correct. I think if you're looking for the term of intrinsic value, it's not the correct term. It's an improper term to use. Probably, I could say the argument could be made pretty easily that Bitcoin does have intrinsic value based, again, on this definition in Investopedia. Have they changed it recently? I don't know. Have the Bitcoin guys changed the definition? I don't know. But the definition clearly states that Bitcoin does have intrinsic value, I guess. And let me move here. And where is it? Right there. However, I'd like to hear comments, and if I'm wrong, I'd be curious to know that as well. Where are we going here? Okay. But what I think the proper term that a lot of folks are looking for is has no tangible value, or maybe intrinsic tangible value might be a better term to use. But Bitcoin has no tangible value, and I agree with that 100%. But as far as intrinsic, yeah. If Peter says it's saying no intrinsic value, I'd sure be curious to see what the definition he's using for that. And again, don't get me wrong, big fan of Peter Schiff's. Also agree with him quite a bit on Bitcoin. Where I disagree with Peter Schiff is he's very acidic about it, very abrasive about it. I'm not really so much. Again, I'm all for, I'm a capitalist, I'm all for markets. You know, I don't want to see people fail either. So, but I know when I'm being spun bullshit, when people are trying to compare crypto and gold, there is no comparison, folks. Crypto is just a new, very volatile, highly volatile, I'm hesitant to even call it an asset yet. It's a very highly volatile casino, in my opinion. Let's move down here. This is kind of interesting. Gold because you're old. All right. The inference here in the video is that the only people that are, the people interested in gold are just old folks because we don't understand the new technology. Well, I'm going to call that a bunch of bullshit. I understand the technology just as much as the next guy does. Maybe not as much as people that are highly into it do, but the technology I may not understand, the background and how it works exactly. What I am very familiar with, what is real money and what is not real money. I'm also highly familiar with what is a solid asset to own that's has a good track record versus a highly volatile asset with no track record, and no one's going to tell me that you can compare the two. So gold, they're making fun of it, gold because you're old, but the truth of the matter is gold being old and older people buying it means that there's a lot of wisdom behind that, and there's a lot of years. Gold has 5,000 years behind it, so I think making fun of something old is a bit comical and actually stupid myself. But God, we probably should watch the video now. Move over, gold is time to share, and a couple other stupid things in here. First, here's the bullshit. Look, obviously the people in the crypto world that did this particular video don't understand that gold cannot be confiscated today. Look at the comment. Thick talk streaks. All right, hang on a second. Difficult to store and even harder to divide. That's such nonsense. I've torn that argument apart so many times it's not even funny. You can stick $1 million worth of gold in a 2-slice toaster, folks. So this is bullshit too. And even harder to divide. Nonsense. That's nonsense. Rich, decadent gold is the best money governments can confiscate and banks can manipulate. Well, they got some of it right. Governments cannot, well, the only thing they get right was banks can manipulate it, but hell, they're manipulating the hell out of Bitcoin right now, even worse, because there is nothing tangible behind Bitcoin, even easier to manipulate Bitcoin. However, look at this, that confiscation, the confiscation bullshit. So obviously they don't know that gold cannot be confiscated because we are no longer on a gold standard. Anyway, this video and this, even though it's sarcastic, is so full of nonsense. It just shows you they really don't know what they're talking about. And as far as pollution, when it comes to gold and silver, they talk about gold and silver mining being very polluting. Meanwhile, they forget what it takes to create Bitcoin. It takes endless amounts of energy. Once a Bitcoin is made, it can't just sit there without power. It has to have constant power, I guess. If all of a sudden it has to have electricity somehow, unless if you don't have electricity, then you can't use the Bitcoin, all right? And it requires internet. And what does all internet and power require? Constant BTUs, constant power is required for the use of Bitcoin. Unlike gold and silver, once it's mined, it's mined. There's no more power that needs to go into it. No more energy needs to go into it, unless you consider moving it from one place to another as burning your BTUs. Other than that, there's no cost after that. There's consistent, constant cost of Bitcoin in the use of electricity, okay? Bandwidth, electricity, whatever you want to call it, and that never gets cheaper. That's going to be endlessly expensive. It constantly sucks up energy all the time. And energy is, where does energy come from? We're not that clean right now. We're not that green right now. So a lot of energy comes from where? Fossil fuels. And nukes, well, I'm okay with nuclear stuff as long as it's safe, but a lot of it still comes from fossil fuels and will continue to come from fossil fuels. So the idea that Bitcoin is any cleaner is just absolutely ridiculous. In fact, mining rules and mining laws now are so damn strict all over the world mostly. That's not even an issue anymore. A lot of mines, once they're done, they have to go in and redo the land, plant trees back, and make sure it looks halfway good when they leave. And this is not really the case. This is just screaming nonsense. Well, there's your clown. But owning gold makes you special, blah, blah, blah. Be gold because you're old. That is just kind of a tiresome, stupid video there. But if you choose to look at it, let me know what you think. I might even look at it later. Anyway, there's my arguments. And where did I think I had something I had mentioned to someone. Where did it go? All right, not worry about it. Gold versus real yields. I told you I was going to bring this up in the show video today, and this is kind of interesting. This, you know, when people talk that what the real yields are, they're currently showing here. What's the yield currently? Real yield treasuries are minus, according to official government inflation, CPI or whatever. According to this, the real yield on a 10-year treasury is still negative at -0.73, so less than 1%. I think that's bullshit myself, and a lot of people do. I think government's official inflation rate is showing their inflation rate, what they're using, which this particular chart uses as well, is the official rate. Again, what is that, 7-8% or something like that, inflation, what they're showing, when in fact a lot of people out there, a lot of smart people out there believe that the inflation rate right now is currently closer to 15%, which would throw these numbers like double. So that would mean a negative yield of 1.4% based on a 15%. So they got a long ways to go on that. But look at the price of gold too. There's this common narrative, as we spoke about a few days ago, that when the real rate goes up, is that people are going to dive into treasuries and bonds because it pays, it pays more than the, it pays a dividend at the end of the year. So unlike gold, which does not. However, with the amount of money printing and the amount of fiscal irresponsibility of governments across the globe, do you really consider treasuries and most bonds like AAA rated anymore? No. Is it as safe as gold? No, not even close. Do they pay yields if they can manage to get the real yields above the inflation rate? I don't know, man. It'd have to pay a pretty big yield in order for me to jump into it, that's for sure. But take a look at this, and the gold price continues to climb regardless of what the yield is on this. Look, there's a negative yield right there, 1.06%. I think we're going to go back there. I also think the only reason the Fed's going to raise rates considerably is because they don't want to go into negative land. So what they do is they fire this bullet here, and they raise rates so they have the ability to back off again a couple months later when they realize that the economy is just not going to take rising rates and the government's going to fail if they have to pay more. Let's take a look at the consumer price index. This is a month right here. Now, these are all reasons you want to own gold and silver, in my opinion. And again, this is the decline of the fiat, the decline of the empire, the dollar empire, and that's exactly what we see going on. Don't get me wrong. I think that the dollar will be the last horse to the glue factory, which means that all other currencies and all other fiats will probably self-destruct and destroy just as fast as we do, and if not faster. But again, I think all fiat currencies are doomed to fail. The United States being the biggest right now, and probably again the last horse in the glue factory. But look at this, 1 month, man. Look at the consumer price index, and this is purchasing power of the consumer dollar. So this is very powerful when you look the scale of that and how fast that's going down. Let me go back out to a maximum here, and you can see again this is accelerated after we get off the gold standard. Look at that. Boom, there's Nixon taking us off the gold standard. We're in bubble territory. There's when interest rates had to be risen, or I remember CDs were paying big money in the 80s, but no less, gold and silver were doing well, and they're still doing well. This chart does not bode well for us, and again, did you expect it to? We're the longest surviving fiat currency in history, and we will outlive the others around us, but in the end, it's not good for anybody. This is the misery index I talked about. The new numbers just came out. We touched on it yesterday a little bit. This is the United States misery index. How miserable do you feel? It's kind of interesting. What the blue part represents is employment. What the red part represents is inflation. And as you can see in our past, we'll go through Truman, a bunch of others. And I like this. This is free. You can do it yourself and look at all kinds of different unemployment rate by year, unemployment rate by month. You can look at the raw data, index by month, index by year, by president, by Congress. But no, let's take a look here and, by Congress, that ought to be interesting. Maybe we'll take a look at that as well. And you remember what I've been saying for a long time. People say, why do you talk about politics? Why do you talk about economics? Well, politics and economics have a big role to play in the price of gold, because the bigger these numbnuts, the worse these numbnuts that we vote for, and I hope we get better people in all across the globe in our next elections, everybody. The bigger these these decisions these numbnuts make, they when they make mistakes, they don't even try to correct it. They don't apologize. They don't correct it. They just double down on their mistakes, and that's what we've seen across the globe for the last couple decades. They just double down on their stupid. But no less, let's take a look at this chart here, and that's kind of interesting. Why is that black? That kind of I don't even know. What does that mean? But let's just skip past it since that's way past our time. That too as well. Interesting. And let's get down to the bottom. Come on, Kennedy. You can see that the numbers here, the misery index, are typically, historically, for most of my lifetime, and a lot of you out there, have been in this 5 to 6 range. Take a look at that, 5 to 6 range. Misery index not too bad, even under Johnson. I suspect under Nixon we're going to start to see the index rise, and we do indeed. Again, remember, these are employment rates, which kind of employment stayed pretty steady through the Nixon era. Where you see the big rise in the misery index is in the red here, and that's inflation. The red is the inflation, that's unemployment, and as you can see through Nixon's term here, wow, but we got off the gold standard, like I said. We were coming off some wars. It was very expensive, the wars we went into, and it cost us a lot of money here, which had to come from somewhere. So here you go. But of course, as you can see, Nixon, when the Vietnam War ends, it looks like the misery index kind of decreased a little bit. Here's when I believe he took us off the gold standard around here. I don't know what effect that would have on the chart, but or maybe here even. But take a look at the inflation index here going forward. Whoa, and gosh, it's just insane. Look at that. The misery index was at an all-time high of 17 before Nixon actually was booted out of office. And take a look at Ford. Ford had that under his belt as well. This is probably what led to the rise of Jimmy Carter. Look at that misery index still going on, mostly inflation related. Inflation is not good for presidencies. Take a look at Ford's presidency. It was not good for presidency, nor Carter's presidency. Take a look at the inflation rate here. We're heading back to these times, folks. I think we're kind of here somewhere. Maybe even closer to here, but I think we're heading back to these numbers here fairly quickly under this current administration. Take a look at the Carter administration here. And listen, I'm not saying this administration only. We haven't had any fiscal responsible administrations for decades. Some might say Reagan was, but Reagan just threw more money at the war machine. So the military-industrial complex. But take a look at this. Look at this misery index. Holy shit, excuse my language, 21.63 under who? Carter. I think we're going to see similar situations with Joe Biden here. I believe that Joe Biden is he's right in this level right here. And look, who did he inherit that from? He inherited that from Ford. But I think Joe Biden is currently in this level. We're going to see in a moment here. I'm not going to give you a spoiler. Spoiler alert. All right, Reagan, again, take a look at that. But inflation was lowered substantially under the Reagan administration. But look at the labor. Look at unemployment rates rising incredibly as well, adding to the misery index here. So, and then it starts to back off here. Now let's kind of just move along. We can say as we will about some other, God damn, Reagan really did. Take a look at Reagan's reign. That emperor's reign right there. Holy smokes, there's a long one. There's G.H.W. Bush, which his reign wasn't as long, and Clinton should have a long one too. But again, misery index still up in that 11 area, 12 area, which is kind of interesting. It's really never came down until the Clinton area right here in the 93 and afterwards. And you can see the misery index down substantially, but America was in great wealth because of stock markets, because of all kinds of things, cheap oil, stock markets. We've reaped the benefits of that over the years, and that probably indicates that in these numbers right here. Take a look at this. Bill Clinton actually enjoyed some really low misery index numbers, okay? Make of it as you will. And I'd be interested to hear what you think in the comments section, politely, civilly. G.W. Bush as well seemed to not do too bad, but if you take a look here, these numbers start to rise as we go along, and we're getting up. Here's a 2008 crisis, the last bubble we had, which this one which pales in the comparison in the one that we have currently. I want to see how this one implodes or explodes, but it won't be good, I can tell you that. But look, misery index rises substantially towards the end of G.W. Bush's career. And here you go here goes Obama again in that 7 range, starts to go up substantially. Remember, this is where the banks started printing huge amounts of money. Look at the unemployment rate, super high, but again, that was after 2008. Really no inflation, that's what that is. I'm sorry, no inflation. This is an indication of the misery index and unemployment right here, probably. So unemployment rates were quite a bit higher. We probably didn't have much inflation because, again, we were coming off a major recession or a major depression, whatever you want to call it, the 2008 crisis. And here we go, back into those high numbers again, and kind of lower. Then we get back into good prosperity here. It looks like the Fed was doing their job. Unemployment was kind of taken care of. Low unemployment, low inflation rates. In fact, a lot of people were talking during this era, and I kind of think I know what was going on here, is we had deflation in some degree. And that's kind of what you were seeing there. And take a look at Trump. Trump, actually, his numbers weren't too bad either. Obama and Trump's numbers weren't too bad here for quite some time. The United States was seeing a lot of economic prosperity, but it was due to money printing, folks. They never fixed anything in '08. That's the reason you see people generally happy here. But there goes your 2019, I think, is when things started going to hell. I think banks were about to collapse. And then the Critter 19 put a stop to everything. There you go, right there. Super high unemployment, and virtually no inflation. Why? Because nobody was buying shit. There was a lot of product out there. But we're seeing that trend reverse dramatically. And here is the first numbers for Biden, folks, right here. Here you go. 7.0, and as you can see, the number is rising substantially. And what is it rising with? Inflation. Unemployment rates are down substantially, but according to what government stats say. All right. However, inflation is rearing its ugly head. Take a look at those red lines. And again, when is the last time we've seen that? Let's move back here. Notice not many red lines, mostly employment problems here. There you go. There is the, I believe that would be, okay, man, take a look at G.W. Bush. Inflation issues, but not that bad until we get back into, there you go, Bush, and let's look at the similar patterns here. That's going to be Reagan. There you go. I think this is where we're going to see, folks. I think we're seeing a similar pattern than we saw back here with the Carter days, and probably the Ford days as well, apparently, because after Nixon got out of here, inflation was pretty horrible. So I think we're going to see a huge inflation here, and Biden is, sorry, close your eyes, it'll make you dizzy. Huge inflation, and I think the next quarter is even going to be far worse than this. That's my opinion here, and I think I don't think it's opinion, I think it's a very educated, good guess that we're going to see a much higher misery index, and it'll be, again, inflation driven. Biden will never win if this continues. No president ever does. No president ever gets reelected in a recession. And Biden's already got major issues without even having a recession, without even having major inflation worries. Biden is already tenuous on whether he'll even get reelected. Same as this the Blue Party. The Blue Party is highly unlikely to do well in this upcoming elections. And you know what? I can understand why. They pretty much screwed themselves, like all politicians do, red and blue. All right, let's move into gat.org. This should be on your bookmark bar. If you don't have it on your bookmark bar and you're not reading these articles once a week, then you are not doing yourself a service, and you really don't know what's going on, I can say pretty easily. A lot of good information out here that you should be reading. And let me go on from here and say, hey, I'm on Getter now. I kind of want to get onto a couple different forums, and we're going to try to open a Twitter account for our company as well. I know some of you say Twitter sucks, but I couldn't argue with that either. But we're going to kind of put ourselves across a couple different forums. So if you are on GETTR, our name is Gold Silver Coins, at Gold Silver Coins, as you can see right here. I'll blow that up. That's me now, and feel free to converse with us out there and share stuff. I'm also posting my videos there, and we're also on the Wall Street Silver Reddit site, so you can contact us there and watch our postings there as well. And our name on there would be There it is, U because my first last name because I kind of combine them to make that word. But U/BEKUSZ. You can find me on Reddit as well, and I like Reddit. I like to thank the Reddit people for what they've done, and I like to thank them for allowing me to put my videos up there. And pretty much, I haven't had any problems with censorship with Reddit with the WSS folks. So pretty impressed. And we'll see how it goes. So, and again, lots of good stuff out there. Let's kind of go over here to yesterday's video, Stocks and Cryptos Crashes, Gold and Silver Rocket. Well, we've had gold and silver rocket again today. I don't think stocks and cryptos are having a better day as well. Stocks are probably sideways right now, but didn't see that rebound, that bounce that we've been seeing when stocks have taken big hits. So some strange stuff going on. Before I get to the video, let me just quickly, oh, hang on. I think I forgot to plug in my computer too. Here you go. There we go. And you notice the screen actually gets brighter as well. Let's see here. There we go. Sorry about that. Wow, that's why the screen was so light. Okay, let's just take a look real quick and see what the spot prices are doing. God, up again on gold. Gold's up even more. Silver's up just a tad below its high today. So let's take a look at yesterday's video. Not too many questions to answer out here, but I'd like to thank everybody for watching and commenting. Make sure if you haven't, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. It does help us get our message out there, and we're all in this together. So the more we can get the message out there about precious metals, the better they are. And let me go down here and just see if I can answer some questions and acknowledge a few folks. Well, I want to acknowledge everyone, even if I don't mention your name, as you're that's commented out here. You're all good folks. Let's see here. Thank you, Saltiness. And as they released the video, gold is down 810. Who's doing the monkey hammering? The question it really is who is doing it? It's tough to say. You know, I can't tell you in these markets. It doesn't. When we look at these charts like this right here, you know, it doesn't tell us, you know, who bought that and how many people. Was it an individual? Was it a bunch of people? Was this a cause of a lot of people selling, one individual? That stuff is really hard to tell. We pretty much know when it comes to major trashing in silver that is done by big commercial short positions, thanks to Ted Butler, who's alerted to us to that. And it's a fact. It's not even speculation anymore. Yep, I agree with you. Yeah, sea cows are pretty cool. That was yesterday's video. And yeah, you're welcome there, Mark and Mr. Quana. Yeah, I tried to limit it because I actually wanted you to finish my video yesterday, so I didn't want you to get too drunk by drinking every time I said monkey hammer. I'm going to do it at the end of the show, though. Monkey hammer, monkey hammer, monkey hammer. There's 3 shots for you right there. Heart of Texas, thank you for watching. Yeah, that's a good song, Ride Out the Storm by REO. Don't put your eggs in one basket, agree 100%. And oh yeah, my over and under. I was saying, what was the Joe Biden over and under? I think the Joe Biden under is going to be 12, and the over, what did I say yesterday, 15 or something like that? Yeah, 17 is probably not out of the not out of the question here. And what's the difference between a market crash and a market collapse and a market implosion? Market crash, market collapse, I don't know. Maybe tomato, potato, potato. I don't know. I don't really see a big difference. They're just very descriptive words like I used when I said rocket yesterday, and someone gave me shit about using the word rocketing up. But maybe I'd be kind of open to it if you want to post something. Never went through a bad market, so now we're seeing what it truly is. I think crypto, again, as a free market capitalist, I'm cool with it as long as it harms no one, and I don't think it is. I think if you're a big boy, big person, you should be able to put your money anywhere you want, all right? But again, no comparison between gold and silver, none whatsoever. And I agree, Mr. Hillbilly in Heart of Texas, there you is again. Yep. So most of us regular folks bought more silver than gold, but I've heard some people saying to trade your gold for silver now, that when the ratio comes down, trade for silver for gold. But who's to say that gold will be there to trade your silver? You know what? I kind of recommend that my customers avoid doing those kind of trades when the ratios get way out of whack. If anything, I would say in a rising market, buy the metal or keep the metal that has the lowest performance, you know, which would typically be silver. Gold usually goes up and silver follows. So I don't know, man. I'm not an investment advisor too. I would say just do what your gut tells you to do on that. And obviously your gut's telling you to keep your silver, so I think that's a good deal. Again, not an investment advisor, and I don't even want to tell people you can go from 0 to 0 when you start giving advice like that. And I'd rather just teach you what I'm learning here and what I know and let you make your own decision. Man, let's see. What else we got going on? Yep, land. Silver is more valuable than gold. It comes up to the ground 7 to 8 to 1. The average throughout history is 15 to 1. We recently were at 25 to 1, but the game is a long one. Generational, and anyone stacking to become wealthy is stupid. It's how dynasties are built. Hey, that's a very good point. And for preparing for a day, you can't even imagine how bad it could be. So you got some very good points there, and thanks for commenting there. Welco Services, appreciate that. So obviously most of us, yep, okay. You kind of answer. I'm just trying to answer some questions here. Again, like to thank all of you, Bobcat as well, for commenting, even if I don't directly comment to your comment. Yep, I do believe were the shutdowns. Yep, I agree. I believe shutdowns were more because of bank issues and political issues than they were because of the Critter 19. I think something bad was happening in the banking system in 19, and I thought that maybe, I don't know. That's conspiratorial. However, there is some fodder for the cannon there. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, Jeff. And I kind of think that myself. And someone countering the bullion bank paper price, dumping shorts of bigger long positions, or all they pushing price up to get when a boy before they pull one of the massive King Kong hammers. Tough to say, sir, but if you don't play, you can't win, and ultimately the destination is to the moon. Thanks for watching, John. Crypto is a bankster psyop of financial to harvest source code and modify human behavior. Interesting thought there. That is very Matrix-like and could be true as well, man. You know, conspiracies sometimes turn out to be correct. You know, you can't say they don't. Yep, that's true. Expiry dates come up 21st January. Keep an eye on normally see a dump after options expire. Kind of interesting. Let's see see what happens. Where in the hell is gold and silver rocketing up yesterday? Yeah, well, you saw the video here. If you made it this far, Bill, you already know the question of that one. Thanks for watching, sir. I'm not marking. I didn't know, but I feel comfortable we are near bottom. Yeah, I think we pretty much are. Again, a major financial collapse. We could see gold and silver collapse as well, but you won't be able to buy it at those prices. It'll be a paper collapse, and it'll go up sharply, especially physical stuff when it's not available. Let's see here. 41 degrees. Wow, that's cold, man. Derivative problems with banks 2,000 removed. Bank reserves. Yeah, I agree. There's something weird going on. The closures, I think, were something to do with more than just the critter, which turned out to be pretty lame as far as its the amount of deaths that occurred on a population level. For silver goes up. Yeah, that's true, which we were talking about today. Bank of America loses 800 million. So 800 million times $1 today, if that is true. They're 800 million down. Wow. Not good. Let's see what happens. I don't think crypto can replace gold unless they come up with a permanent non-battery wallet to transfer it in. Wow. Never thought about that. It does indeed require power all the time. In 1,000 years, archaeology will be able to tell what knowledge we have today. Electronic data is not stone carvings and temples. Ooh, very good point. This data will go the way of writing in the Inca culture, where all the knotted strings were destroyed by the Spanish, and we lost the equivalent of the Library of Alexandria burning. Wow. Not to mention the Ming Dynasty destroying a lot of old Chinese scrolls that we used for money. That's true. You know, if you think about it, you know, if you lose power and you completely lost your data, you know, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks for bringing that up, Celeste. You have food for thought. They need war to fix the money problem. That was my video a couple days ago. Is it time for war? I think they're beating the drums of war in this current administration and across Europe to get people's mind off of how much of assholes and how badly they've damaged our society and economy. War is a good way to get that off people's mind. Thanks for watching, Michael, Rock and Chucker. Yeah, I've been following this thing as well. So let's see what happens in China. You know, the problem is you can't get good data out of China. So if they were collapsing, would they even tell us? Probably not. Mexico, yep, this is true. Man, we've been stealing Mexican silver for a long time at cheap prices, that's for sure. And Butler is right, Ted Butler. Man, I salute that guy, Ted Butler. I think he is one of the #1 dudes out there that enlightened a lot of people. And if it wasn't for him, most of us wouldn't be complaining, and maybe nothing would be getting done. And perhaps something is getting done. Maybe that's why we're seeing prices move back up again. But let me not talk too soon. I can go from 0 to 0 real quick. Hey, that's it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Call me anytime between 10 and 4, Mondays through Fridays. Happy to help you with anything you need. And don't forget, I am a local brick and mortar only. We do not do any shipping out of the country or out of the state. So my recommendation for you, until I'm able to open up an online, but even if I did open up an online bullion, find yourself a good local dealer. And even if I had an online business, buy from your local people first. Keep that money local. I highly recommend it. Your local guy should be able to beat APMEX, JM, and SD bullion like I do. It's pretty easy to do, on their more commonly better priced products. Of course, I won't sell you the higher priced junk that they sell, but I'll sell you the nicer stuff. And nothing wrong with those 3 companies too. I'm just highly competitive, and we live in a free market capitalist system, so they would do the same to me. And I think that's it. Hey, thanks for watching. Have yourself a good day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.